We'll start with the Irish Times, and pretty much all the newspapers leading with this Liverpool defeat last night. The Irish Times go with inspirational Aguero leads from the front for champions, and Sané's precision finish reignites the title race. You've also got Juventus upbeat on prospect of signing Ramsey at the end of the season. That's Aaron Ramsey, who's probably going to agree a deal in the next couple of weeks to join a new club and complete it then in the summer. The Irish Independent goes with Sané hands City lifeline. Second half strike closes gap, but Klopp fumes over company reprieve. You've also got Lowe to miss Toulouse clash as Kelleher eyes Leinster return. That's James Lowe. He's got a ban which will see him miss next weekend's Toulouse match for Leinster in the Champions Cup. And another one here, John Fallon writing that Duff departs as Fahy takes Hoop's role. So Shamrock Rovers have replaced one former Irish international with another, as Keith Fahy was yesterday confirmed as part of their underage coaching setup, with Damien Duff departing, expected to go to Celtic. Big news as well in the Shamrock Rovers Celtic dynamic as well in the Irish Daily Mail, which Johnny will get to in a moment. Just a couple of the other Manchester City headlines. Sané ignites title race, says the back of the Times Ireland edition. The City win puts them 4 points behind Liverpool, and company escapes red card for lunge on Salah. And the front page of the Irish Examiner sports section, Leroy lifeline. Sané's strike reduces gap to 4 points, punctures Liverpool's invincible ambitions. So Arsenal fans popping the champagne corks this morning.
Yeah, I'll start with actually the Racing Post, just because it's the paper next to me. A mere formality. The Racing Post goes with Tranmere and Tottenham on the back page. Interesting here, Troy Parrot could be on the bench tonight, and he's been kind of on the fringes of the squad. So you'd imagine a game like this, Spurs would be recognised as not having maybe the deepest squad in the world. We'll see what they actually have maybe throughout the FA Cup, because you'd imagine Pochettino will use it. So I think if Troy Parrot could get a run, it'll be fascinating to see. I'd say he's probably our most exciting young player, bar everyone, including Rice, because he's not necessarily ours. But the front of the Racing Post, HRI chief, SIS and ATR to blame for absence of video archive. This is it's very much a story that only racing people would have been interested in, but basically At the Races was taken over by Racing UK for the rights of Irish TV in January. It's €31 a month, so that was controversial, but they've had a bit of a disagreement over the replays of previous races. So like, I was wanting to watch a couple of previous races with a view to Dundalk tonight, but I actually can't watch them. They're literally nowhere online. And Ger Lyons, the trainer, has come out and he said to At the Races, which is now Sky Sports Racing, every time you asked me for an interview, I was courteous enough to give it to you, and now you're taking my video replays away. My jockeys can't look at form when they're trying to analyse the race beforehand. And HRI got involved, and now it seems that they're trying to resolve it, because it's been a big PR boo-boo, and Racing TV, which is really trying to kind of set itself up as a friend of Irish racing because it has just gotten the rights, is like, well, we need to get this sorted very quickly. So it's kind of been the big story in racing this week. This is the Sun in Sané, and obviously it's just talking about that ridiculous goal that wasn't, and the crazy move that, I mean, when you look at these madcap things that are just talking about inches, Origi's goal should never have happened on so many levels, and then that last night was kind of, I suppose, some sort of a retribution. But
well, there's been so many bizarre things that have happened over the past 6 weeks in the Premier League, even on a smaller level, that the likes of Andros Townsend hitting the ball more perfectly than any other human being has ever hit a football before to send City into their first defeat, and then Ricardo Pereira doing something similar, not as sweet as Andros Townsend, but also another bizarrely beautiful hit to send City into another defeat. Obviously the Pickford mistake is definitely the most weird thing that's happened so far this season. That was crazy. Like, I was tweeting yesterday, putting it up there with the Nicky Quaid save for Liverpool last year, which is maybe getting a bit ahead of myself. Like, we won't know for a few months.
Bringing up a lot of sore points here, the Nicky Quaid save, and
of course,
Limerick win the All-Ireland and all that, but the goal, the Origi goal, from what we expect Liverpool as a team to think that it was this lump forward, then this like ridiculously badly hit shot by Van Dijk that should have gone over, but somehow just went in the only place where the keeper could possibly make a mistake, and then Origi was just off the bench, and you're just like, Liverpool will win the title if this is anything to go by. And that was just insane last night. You've two teams of such beauty and such virtuosity, but you're talking about Stones just getting there by literally, like, a millisecond later and they're toast.
As soon as I say I get ahead of myself, the tweet happens to go up on screen. As soon as I kill the kind of validity of my own tweet, Tommy puts it up on screen, so thanks for that. I also compare him to
You got
LeBron
your grammar
James.
right as well, to be fair. Is goal line a word?
Probably not. Like, to be fair, I think we were all just a little bit excited, and grammar was the last thing on my mind last night.
Were you happy with the retweets and the likes?
Well,
Sure.
didn't really think about it, to be quite honest. Would you be happy with that?
We all do. That's the only reason we put it up there, to see can we improve on previous figures. Sad world of social.
Speak for yourself, Johnny. I just do it for my own soul, really. Just as a sounding board for myself.
Soulful media. Yeah, so we have the... and by the way, if you have any New Year's resolution, and I don't mean you, just as in general to people, just spend a lot less time on your phone and on social media. It
is one of mine, actually.
Turn off your phone a lot more, put it on flight mode. You're not on call, just turn off your phone at any time of the day, as long as you're not, your missus isn't expecting a baby any minute soon, and get off social media, especially during football games. Actually watch the game and react to it afterwards. Well, you don't need to comment endlessly during the game.
Totally. There was actually no opportunity to tweet during the game last night.
People still would have found it.
I'm sure they would have, but
and we're now programmed to. There should be a study done on football fans watching games at the ground and also on TV. What percentage? You know the way, like, what percentage is the ball out of play? What percentage do football fans spend now on their phone or on their laptop tweeting about it? And it should be a lot less.
Do you find yourself drifting during a football match? And
it's just the way our minds are now, because of just repetition of having a phone. And when you go to games, you find yourself checking other scores, and then and still almost like texting your mates the update from a League of Ireland game, even though he can probably know that anyway. He's access to his phone, which will tell him the score anyway. So it's just this kind of lack of attention span that I think...
You're present, but you're absent.
Yeah, and you're always like, I need to look at my phone and see what people are commenting on this game, when you don't actually. And you'd be better educated if you watch the game. So that's, anyway. And I'm looking at myself as much as anyone else there. The Irish Daily Mail... I love this. Philip Quinn, Celtic's bid for a sizable stake in Rovers. I love an old-fashioned back page exclusive, and this is purportedly an exclusive as well, so I'll take it is. Philip, a real old warrior of the Irish soccer journalism. And this is, it's not exactly a surprising development in ways, because, like, there's a lot of money there if you take over a League of Ireland club now, potentially in Europe, and this third-tier competition that's happening in Europe. I don't think everyone is sure about the details, but financially it's supposed to be very good for League of Ireland clubs. So the prospect of getting into the Champions League is ever further away, but this is definitely a way of ensuring that there's a lot of money to be made in Europe. And the League of Ireland doesn't have enough depth such that if you don't put in enough money, you should be well able to get into the top four. And Shamrock Rovers have shown with Gavin Bazuna, who people have forgotten about maybe, that he's gone to Man City, but he's very young and time is on his side. I think he turns 17 next month. He and Graham Burke went for pretty large fees by League of Ireland standards this year, and Rovers have put a lot of money into their development out in Roadstone. But like,
so what's the story here? Dermot Desmond is
Dermot Desmond is he's reputed to be behind the groundbreaking move. Now, Dermot Desmond has obviously been involved with Celtic for however long, but like, it's always been a bit of a gripe of mine. Dermot Desmond is Irish, he's been deeply involved in Irish business. Like, why would he not take over a League of Ireland club? And it would be for small money. And in terms of, like,
I guess this is his first step, is it not? So, like, who knows what the grander plan is, but
yeah, well, according to Philip's story, it's mutually beneficial. And again, I've no problem with this, that Rovers players could potentially move to Celtic, which I think the SPL is a good move for League of Ireland clubs as well. I think you're going to be playing in the top division. You have certainly a better chance, and you're in an extremely well attended league, and also it's progression if you want to move to the next step. I think we need to get over this fascination of having to move to Britain. There are other leagues that Irish clubs could play in, or Irish players could play in anyway, but also that Celtic could lend players out to Rovers to give them development in the League of Ireland, which would be suitable for them, because again, the SPL isn't that much higher than the League of Ireland at a certain level, so it could be mutually beneficial. And it says that they've enjoyed close links, that Rovers have welcomed Celtic over for friendlies, and the two managers, Brendan Rodgers and Stephen Bradley, are said to have high regard for each other, which again, I wasn't aware of that, but Bradley's a young manager, and it's a very interesting development, because I think Rovers potentially could well become like the biggest club in Ireland, and they should be, even though they're probably not at the moment. You know, you could nearly say it's Cork City. Linfield could be up there as well, but Rovers are the ones who in 10 years' time I think could well be the dominant force because of the money they're putting in and their youth development. You know, you spoke about Damien Duff being gone, but he's left a big imprint there in terms of professionalism at that club from under 15s up, training at, we're tired this morning, but these kids were getting up 3 or 4 mornings a week at a similar time to train before they went to school. Rovers are putting kids into school, they're really high calibre kids, giving them free education. And a lot of other League of Ireland clubs just can't match that, and Shamrock Rovers still have the name of being a huge club, so really interesting development. So I want to see how that story develops, and great as a journalist that is very, very true to the spirit of getting a story on the back page and not having it online before it breaks. And it always is that quagmire, I don't want somebody else to get the story before I do, and then it appears in the back page and it's not even exclusive anymore. Kudos to Philip Quinn for getting that.
But the thing is always to leak it online at midnight when all the other papers have gone to print.
Yeah, but then it's like on a web page, and that's kind of, I still just like, you know, the notion of, sadly people aren't buying papers much anymore, or not as much anymore, but in any event I still like the exclusive. The Irish Daily Star, happy blue year, tied wrist back on as Klopp rages at company tackle, and Defoe to join Gers, which is an interesting one. Jermaine Defoe, a very, very admirable character in many ways in his career, and in terms of how he's, you know, made an imprint off the pitch with, of course, that kid who was so sick that he was, you know, obviously such a profound influence on him. Could be going to Rangers, who at the last time I checked are top of the league.
Yeah, well, level on points.
Certainly level on points,
Celtic,
after the Old Firm. And Scotland's gotten very interesting. I think I was saying this to you on Saturday. There's like 5 points between first and fourth in Scotland at this time of the year, which is really insane. Mirror Sport, formidable. Sané slashes Liverpool's title lead in Thriller, and obviously it's completely dominant. The Guardian, City Ignite title race, I think that's pretty accurate there. And yeah, that's about all we have. The Daily Telegraph, now you're going to believe us, and it was that man Aguero, of course, who did the business. So it was a good day to get an exclusive on the back page, because it was obviously very much Man City heavy.
Yeah.